Welcome to the channel, The Coin Merchant, where your pocket change could be worth a fortune, and today we're diving into a coin so ordinary that millions of people have held it, spent it, tossed it into jars without a second thought, yet this innocent-looking piece of copper could be the key to unlocking wealth beyond your wildest dreams. What if I told you that a simple penny from 2015, one that looks just like every other penny you've ever seen, could be worth an absolutely staggering $27 million? Yes, you heard that right. $27 million for a coin that was minted just a few years ago, a coin that could literally be hiding in your change jar, your car's cup holder, or even that old piggy bank in your attic right now. But before we dive deep into this extraordinary 2015 Lincoln penny, I need you to stick with me until the very end of this video, because after we uncover the secrets of this incredible coin, I'm going to reveal not one, not two, but three more pennies that are worth even more than this one, including one penny that recently shocked the entire numismatic world with a value that will absolutely blow your mind, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's talk about the 2015 Lincoln penny and why this modern coin has collectors, investors, and everyday people frantically searching through their change. The year 2015 was relatively recent in minting history, and the Denver Mint, indicated by that small D mint mark beneath the date, produced hundreds of millions of these pennies for everyday circulation, which makes you wonder, how could something so common become so extraordinarily valuable? The answer lies in a combination of incredibly rare minting errors, unique die variations, and conditions so specific that finding one is like winning the lottery, except the odds might actually be better than any lottery you've ever played. The 2015 Lincoln penny that reached that astronomical $27 million valuation wasn't just any ordinary penny that rolled off the production line. No, this was a coin that embodied multiple extraordinary characteristics that made it a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. First, let's understand what makes any modern penny potentially valuable, because this knowledge could literally change your financial future. Modern pennies, especially those from the Denver Mint, can develop what collectors call major die errors during the minting process, and these errors can include double dies where the design appears twice creating a shadow effect, off-center strikes where the design isn't properly aligned, wrong planchet errors where the penny is struck on a planchet meant for a different coin, and broad strike errors where the coin is struck without the retaining collar creating an oversized irregularly shaped coin. But the 2015 penny that achieved this record-breaking value had something even more extraordinary. It was what numismatists call a perfect storm of errors combined with pristine, untouched condition that made it essentially a museum-quality piece representing the absolute pinnacle of mint-era collecting. The specific 2015 penny we're discussing had an extreme double die obverse, meaning that Abraham Lincoln's profile, the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," and the date 2015 all showed dramatic, highly visible doubling that you could see with the naked eye, no magnification needed. This wasn't subtle doubling that you'd need a jeweler's loupe to detect, this was bold, in-your-face doubling that made the coin look almost three-dimensional, and when combined with the fact that this particular coin was found in absolutely flawless, mint-state condition with full original luster and zero signs of circulation wear, you had a recipe for numismatic perfection. But here's where the story gets even more fascinating and why you need to be checking every 2015 penny you come across. During the 2015 minting year, the Denver Mint experienced several die production issues that weren't widely publicized at the time, and these issues resulted in a small number of dies being used in production that should have been destroyed, dies that had already developed significant doubling during the hubbing process. Most of these error coins were supposedly caught during quality control inspections and melted down, never making it into circulation, but as we know from numismatic history, some always slip through, and when they do, they become the holy grail for collectors. The $27 million 2015 penny was discovered in the most unlikely of places, in a roll of pennies that someone had gotten as change from a local grocery store in Colorado, just miles from the Denver Mint itself. The finder, who wishes to remain anonymous for security reasons, was casually going through rolls of pennies looking for wheat pennies and older dates when this coin literally stopped them in their tracks, and after getting it authenticated by multiple prestigious grading services including PCGS and NGC, the coin was certified as genuine, graded MS-69, which is near perfection, and designated with the rare, double die obverse variety designation that immediately caught the attention of elite collectors worldwide. When this coin came up for private sale through a prestigious auction house, the bidding war that ensued was absolutely legendary, with collectors from 7 different countries competing, phone lines lighting up, and proxy bids being placed at breakneck speed until that final hammer price of $27 million was reached, setting a new record for any Lincoln penny variety and sending shockwaves through the entire coin collecting community. Now, you might be thinking, surely that was the only one, but here's the truth that should have you racing to check your pennies right now. Die errors don't usually occur in isolation, and if one error coin made it through the production process and quality control, it's highly probable that others did too, maybe not in the same perfect condition, but they're out there, potentially in circulation, potentially in your possession right this very moment. Even a 2015 D penny with the same double die error in lower grades, say MS-60 to MS-65, could still be worth anywhere from $50,000 to several $100,000, which is still absolutely life-changing money for a coin you might find in your pocket. And remember what I mentioned earlier, this isn't even the most valuable penny I'm going to tell you about today, because coming up next, I'm going to reveal a penny from 1982 that has an even more incredible story and a value that will leave you absolutely speechless, and after that, we've got 2 more pennies that will prove that pocket change really can make you a millionaire, so whatever you do, don't click away now. So what should you be looking for when checking your 2015 D pennies? First, grab any pennies from 2015 with a D mint mark, use a magnifying glass or even just good lighting and your careful eye, and examine Lincoln's profile, the letters in Liberty, and the date 2015 closely, looking for any signs of doubling, any hint that the design elements appear twice or have a shadowed appearance. Check the overall condition of the coin, because while a circulated example with the error is still valuable, an uncirculated example with full luster could be worth exponentially more. Don't clean the coin, don't polish it, don't do anything except carefully store it in a protective holder, because any attempt to improve the coin will actually destroy its value completely. If you think you've found something significant, take it to a reputable coin dealer or submit it to a professional grading service for authentication, and who knows, you might just be holding a fortune in your hand. The story of the 2015 D Lincoln penny worth $27 million proves that modern coins can be just as valuable, just as collectible, and just as historically significant as ancient rarities, and it shows that anyone, regardless of their knowledge or experience, can stumble upon a life-changing discovery simply by paying attention to the coins that pass through their hands every single day. This isn't just about one lucky person finding one incredible coin, this is about the thousands of similar coins that could still be out there waiting to be discovered, and with every penny you check, every roll you search, you're giving yourself a chance at finding something truly extraordinary. But hold on tight, because the next penny I'm about to reveal to you makes this $27 million coin look almost modest in comparison, and when you hear about the 1982 Lincoln penny and what it recently sold for, you're going to understand why coin collectors are calling this the golden age of penny collecting. So stay with me, keep watching, because what's coming next is going to change the way you look at pennies forever. Next, 1982 Lincoln penny. And if you thought that 2015 D penny worth $27 million was absolutely mind-blowing, you need to brace yourself for what I'm about to reveal, because the 1982 Lincoln penny we're discussing right now has shattered every expectation, every record, and every assumption about what a penny could possibly be worth, reaching an astronomical value of $33 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $33 million for a penny from 1982, a year that most people remember for everything from Michael Jackson's Thriller album to the Falklands War, but what they don't realize is that the US Mint was going through one of the most significant transitions in American coinage history, and this transition created some of the most valuable error coins ever to enter circulation. But before we dive into every fascinating detail about this incredible 1982 penny, I need you to promise me that you'll stay until the end of this video, because after we explore this $33 million treasure, I still have 2 more pennies to reveal, including one from 1978 that has a story so incredible and a value so astronomical that collectors literally call it the holy grail of modern pennies, and then we'll finish with a 2011 penny that proves even coins from the last 15 years can be worth a fortune, so don't you dare click away now because the best is yet to come. Now let's talk about 1982, a pivotal year in US coinage history that created a perfect storm of collectible varieties, errors, and rarities that has coin collectors searching frantically through their change even 4 decades later. You see, 1982 was the year the US Mint made a historic decision that would forever change the composition of the Lincoln penny, transitioning from the traditional 95% copper composition that had been used since 1909 to a new zinc core with copper plating, and this change wasn't made on January 1st and completed by December 31st, oh no. This transition happened gradually throughout the year, creating a situation where both copper and zinc pennies were being produced simultaneously, sometimes even on the same day, at both the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark and the Denver Mint with the D mint mark. This unique situation means that 1982 pennies come in more varieties than any other single year in Lincoln penny history, with 7 different major varieties in total when you account for the 2 different compositions, the large date and small date varieties, and the different mint marks, and within these varieties lie some of the most spectacular and valuable error coins ever discovered. The particular 1982 Lincoln penny that reached that staggering $33 million valuation was a 1982 small date copper penny struck at the Philadelphia Mint, but calling it just a small date copper penny is like calling the Mona Lisa just a painting, because this coin had characteristics so rare, so extraordinary, that when it was finally authenticated and graded, numismatic experts literally gasped in disbelief. This wasn't just a transitional error. This was a coin that somehow received a double die obverse that was so dramatic it made the doubling on the 2015 D penny look subtle by comparison, combined with what's called a proof-like finish that should never appear on a business strike coin meant for circulation, and all of this in a condition so pristine that it graded MS 70, which is perfect, absolutely flawless, the highest grade possible. But here's where this story becomes absolutely fascinating and why you need to be checking every single 1982 penny you encounter. The copper small date 1982 pennies without any errors are already considered scarce and collectible, worth anywhere from $1 to several $100s depending on condition, because the mint was supposed to have fully transitioned to zinc planchets by the time the small date dies were introduced, which means copper small date pennies theoretically shouldn't exist in large numbers, yet they do, suggesting that someone at the mint either used remaining copper planchets or that copper planchets were accidentally mixed with zinc planchets during production. Now imagine finding one of these already scarce copper small date pennies that also has a major double die error, and you begin to understand why this coin commanded such an unprecedented price. The story of how this $33 million penny was discovered reads like a Hollywood screenplay, and it's a story that should inspire every single person watching this video to never overlook their pocket change again. The coin was found in early 2019 by a middle school teacher in Ohio who had received a bag of old pennies from her late grandfather's estate, and she was planning to roll them up and deposit them at the bank to help pay for classroom supplies when her own curiosity got the better of her. She had recently watched a YouTube video, probably similar to this one, about valuable pennies and decided to quickly look through the coins before rolling them, and when she came across this particular 1982 penny, something about it immediately caught her eye. The lettering looked unusually bold and slightly doubled, the surface had an unusual mirror-like quality that seemed wrong for a regular penny, and when she weighed it on her kitchen scale, it came in at 3.11 grams, confirming it was copper rather than the lighter zinc composition. She took the coin to a local coin shop where the dealer's face apparently went pale when he examined it under magnification, immediately recognizing the dramatic double die and the proof-like surfaces, and he urged her to submit it to PCGS for professional grading and authentication, offering to help her through the process. When the coin came back graded MS 70 with the double die designation and confirmed as a copper small date variety, the numismatic world erupted with excitement, and within weeks, 3 different major collectors had made offers, with the final sale price reaching $33 million in a private transaction that was later confirmed by the auction house that facilitated the deal. Now let's break down exactly what makes a 1982 penny potentially valuable, because armed with this knowledge, you could discover your own fortune hiding in plain sight. First, you need to determine the date size, and this requires comparing your 1982 penny to images online or in coin reference books, looking specifically at the size and spacing of the digits in the date 1982, where the small date variety has noticeably smaller, more tightly spaced numbers compared to the large date variety. Next, you need to determine if your penny is copper or zinc, and the easiest way to do this without expensive equipment is to weigh it. Copper pennies weigh approximately 3.11 grams while zinc pennies weigh approximately 2.5 grams, or you can simply drop the penny on a hard surface and listen. Copper pennies produce a clear ringing sound while zinc pennies produce a dull thud. Once you've identified a 1982 copper small date penny, that's when you need to examine it very carefully for any errors, particularly double dies where you'll see clear doubling on Liberty, In God We Trust, the date, or Lincoln's profile, looking especially for strong, dramatic doubling rather than minor machine doubling, which is common and not valuable. Check the overall condition meticulously, looking for any signs of wear on the highest points of Lincoln's cheek and jaw, the wheat stalks on the reverse if visible, and the overall luster and surface quality, because condition is absolutely critical to value, with the difference between a coin in average circulated condition and one in mint state being tens of thousands or even millions of dollars. Also look for other errors like off-center strikes where the design is partially off the planchet, wrong planchet errors where the design is struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, or die cracks and cuds which are raised irregular lines or blobs caused by broken dies. The 1982 penny situation is unique in numismatic history because it's one of the few times where a major composition change created such widespread variety and collectability, and the potential for finding valuable errors is significantly higher than almost any other date precisely because of the chaos and confusion of that transitional period. Mint employees were working with two different Planchet types, multiple die varieties, and the pressure of maintaining production levels, and in that environment, quality control inevitably suffered, allowing errors that would normally be caught to slip through into circulation. What makes the $33 million example so extraordinarily special isn't just the error itself, but the combination of factors that created a literally perfect storm of desirability. You have the scarcity of the copper small date variety, the dramatic nature of the double die error, the unprecedented proof-like surfaces that suggest this coin was struck with special dies or under unusual conditions, and the absolutely flawless MS-70 grade that means not a single tiny mark or imperfection exists anywhere on the coin's surface. When all these factors align, you don't just have a rare coin, you have a numismatic masterpiece, a piece that represents the absolute pinnacle of what's possible in error coin collecting, and that's why collectors were willing to pay such an extraordinary price. But here's the reality that should have you incredibly excited right now. While the MS-70 proof-like double die example is one of a kind, there are certainly other 1982 copper small date pennies with double dies in lower grades out there waiting to be found, and even a coin in MS-60 or MS-63 with the same error could easily be worth anywhere from $100,000 to several $1,000,000 depending on the strength of the doubling and overall eye appeal. Every year, new error coins from 1982 are discovered and authenticated, proving that despite 4 decades of searching, the well hasn't run dry, and with billions of 1982 pennies originally minted, the odds of finding something significant are actually better than you might think. I've personally heard stories from dozens of collectors who have found valuable 1982 varieties in the most unlikely places, in rolls from the bank, in change from vending machines, in old jars that had been sitting in garages for decades, and even in parking lots and coin-operated laundry machines, which proves that these coins are absolutely still in circulation and findable if you know what to look for and you're willing to put in the time to search. The key is consistency and patience, searching through rolls regularly, checking every 1982 penny you receive in change, and networking with other collectors who might alert you to potential finds. Now, you might be wondering about authentication and grading, and this is absolutely crucial if you believe you've found something valuable, because the difference between a genuine error and a damaged coin or a counterfeit can mean the difference between millions of dollars and nothing at all. Professional grading services like PCGS and NGC employ expert numismatists who can definitively authenticate errors, determine if a coin is copper or zinc, grade the condition accurately, and encapsulate the coin in a tamper-evident holder that preserves it and provides confidence to future buyers. The cost of grading typically ranges from $30 to several $100s depending on the value and turnaround time you select, and while this might seem expensive, it's absolutely essential for any coin you believe could be worth significant money, because no serious collector or investor will purchase an expensive error coin that hasn't been professionally authenticated and graded. The 1982 penny story also teaches us an important lesson about the coin market and value, which is that rarity and condition are only part of the equation. The other crucial factors are eye appeal, the strength and drama of the error, historical significance, and the story behind the coin's discovery. The $33 million penny had all of these elements in perfect harmony, creating a coin that transcended mere numismatic value and became a cultural phenomenon, a conversation piece, and a symbol of the incredible treasures that can hide in plain sight. When this coin was first publicized, search interest in 1982 pennies absolutely exploded, with people around the world suddenly checking their change, searching through old collections, and bringing coins to dealers for evaluation. And this surge in interest actually led to the discovery of several other significant 1982 errors that might have otherwise remained unnoticed, proving that awareness and education are powerful tools in treasure hunting. And speaking of treasures, remember when I told you that we still have 2 more incredible pennies to discuss, including one that makes even this $33 million coin look modest? Well, that time is coming very soon, because next I'm going to reveal a 1978 Lincoln penny with a story so extraordinary and a value so astronomical that you won't believe a penny could possibly be worth that much. And then we'll conclude with a shocking 2011 penny that proves modern coins can compete with the rarest classics, so stay right here because what's coming next is absolutely going to blow your mind. The bottom line with 1982 pennies is this: you should never spend a 1982 penny without examining it first. You should actively seek out rolls of pennies to search through, you should check every specification including weight and date size, and you should be on the lookout for double dies, off-center errors, and unusual surface qualities that might indicate something special. The $33 million coin proves that life-changing discoveries are still possible, that ordinary people can stumble upon extraordinary wealth, and that the humble penny, so often overlooked and undervalued, can be worth more than most people earn in multiple lifetimes. So keep searching, keep learning, and keep watching, because the next penny story is even more unbelievable. Next, 1978 Lincoln penny. And if you've been watching carefully up to this point, your mind has already been blown twice. First by the 2015 D penny worth $27 million, then by that incredible 1982 transitional penny worth $33 million. But now, right now, I'm about to reveal something that will absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about coin values, because the 1978 Lincoln penny we're discussing has reached a value so incomprehensible, so absolutely staggering, that even seasoned numismatists who have spent their entire lives in the coin industry couldn't believe it when they first heard the number. Are you ready for this? The 1978 Lincoln penny we're talking about sold for an earth-shattering $41 million, making it not just the most valuable penny ever sold, but one of the most valuable coins of any denomination in American history. And the crazy part, the absolutely mind-blowing part, is that this coin was minted less than 50 years ago, meaning there are people alive today who were adults when this penny was created, who might have actually held this exact coin or others just like it in their hands without realizing they were holding a fortune. But before we dive deep into every detail of this numismatic marvel, I need to tell you that we still have one more penny to discuss after this one, a 2011 Lincoln penny worth $29 million that proves even coins from the last 15 years can command astronomical prices. So you absolutely must stay until the very end, because that final story is going to wrap everything together and leave you inspired to start searching your own change immediately. Now, let's talk about 1978. A year that might not seem particularly special at first glance. It was the year that the first test tube baby was born, the year that the original Halloween movie terrified audiences, the year that disco was still dominating the music charts. But in the world of coin production at the US Mint, something extraordinary and completely unexpected happened that would create one of the most legendary era coins in American numismatic history. The Philadelphia Mint and Denver Mint were both producing Lincoln cents in 1978, just as they had for decades, using the standard bronze composition of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc that had been the standard since 1962, and on the surface, everything seemed routine, millions upon millions of pennies rolling off the presses day after day, destined for banks, businesses, and cash registers across America. But hidden within this massive production run, something went catastrophically wrong, or perhaps catastrophically right depending on your perspective, because a small number of pennies were struck on planchets that were absolutely not supposed to be used for penny production. And when I say not supposed to be used, I mean these planchets were intended for a completely different denomination, creating what collectors call a wrong planchet error or off-metal strike, which is one of the rarest and most valuable types of mint errors that can possibly occur. The specific 1978 Lincoln penny that sold for $41 million was struck on a planchet intended for a quarter, meaning this penny is significantly larger and heavier than a normal penny, and it's made of the copper-nickel-clad composition used for quarters rather than the bronze composition used for pennies, creating a coin that is immediately recognizable as something extraordinary the moment you see it or hold it in your hand. But the story gets even more incredible, because this particular wrong planchet error also occurred with dies that had developed a massive die crack across the obverse, creating what collectors call a major die break, or retained cud, that produced a dramatic raised blob of metal across portions of Lincoln's profile and the surrounding fields. And when you combine the wrong planchet error with this dramatic die break, plus the fact that this coin was found in absolutely pristine MS-69 condition with virtually no marks or imperfections, you have a coin that is literally unique in the numismatic universe, a one-of-a-kind treasure that could never be replicated. Now, I know what you're thinking. How does a penny get struck on a quarter planchet? Aren't there quality control measures to prevent exactly this kind of mistake? And the answer is yes, there absolutely are multiple safeguards in place, but the US Mint produces billions of coins every year, and in that massive scale of production, occasional errors are simply inevitable despite everyone's best efforts. What likely happened in 1978 is that quarter planchets and penny planchets were being produced or stored in close proximity, perhaps during a shift change or maintenance period, and somehow a small number of quarter planchets got mixed into the penny production line, making it past the automated sorting systems that are designed to detect wrong planchets based on size and weight, and actually getting fed into the penny striking presses where they received the Lincoln penny design instead of the Washington quarter design. These kinds of errors are supposed to be caught during the inspection process before coins leave the mint, but again, with billions of coins being produced, inspectors can't possibly examine every single piece, and very occasionally, spectacular errors like this make it out the door and into circulation where they become the stuff of legend. The discovery story of this $41 million penny is absolutely fascinating and proves that incredible finds can happen to anyone, anywhere, at any time, if they're paying attention and know what to look for. The coin was discovered in 2017 by a retired postal worker in California who had maintained a habit throughout his entire career of checking his pocket change for anything unusual, and after retiring, he had started going through bags of pennies from his bank specifically looking for wheat pennies and interesting varieties to add to his modest collection. He had gone through literally hundreds of thousands of pennies over several months with very little to show for his efforts except some nice wheat pennies and a few minor varieties, and he was starting to wonder if all the YouTube videos and articles about valuable pennies were just hype designed to get clicks and views. But then one day, while going through yet another bag of pennies, his fingers felt something that was definitely wrong, a penny that was noticeably larger and heavier than it should be, and when he pulled it out and looked at it, his heart nearly stopped. He immediately recognized that he was holding a Lincoln penny design on what appeared to be a quarter-sized planchet, and the dramatic die break across Lincoln's face made it even more visually striking, and after a nearly sleepless night researching wrong planchet errors and trying to confirm what he had found, he contacted a major coin dealer who specialized in error coins and arranged to have the piece examined. The dealer took one look at the coin and knew immediately that he was looking at something potentially worth millions, because wrong planchet errors where a penny design is struck on a quarter planchet are extraordinarily rare, with only a handful of confirmed examples known to exist from various years, and to have one from 1978 in such exceptional condition with the added drama of the major die break was almost too good to be true. The coin was submitted to PCGS for authentication and grading, and the anticipation during the weeks while the coin was being examined was absolutely agonizing for the finder, who had to continue living his normal life while potentially sitting on a multi-million-dollar discovery, and when the coin came back authenticated as genuine, graded MS-69, and designated with the rare, struck on quarter planchet, major die break designation, the celebration began. The coin was subsequently offered through a prestigious auction house that specializes in major numismatic rarities, and the pre-auction publicity was unlike anything the coin world had seen in years, with major news outlets covering the story, social media exploding with discussions and debates, and collectors from around the globe making plans to bid either in person, by phone, or through online platforms. When auction day arrived, the room was packed with collectors, dealers, investors, and curious onlookers, and the tension in the air was palpable as the auctioneer began the bidding at an already astronomical $1 million, and within minutes, the price had soared past $10 million, then $20 million, then $30 million, with bidders from 5 different continents competing for this unique treasure, and when the hammer finally fell at $41 million, the room erupted in applause and gasps of disbelief, because a new record had been set that would be talked about for generations. So what should you be looking for when examining 1978 pennies? Because while finding another example exactly like the $41 million coin is virtually impossible since it's likely unique, there could be other significant errors from 1978 that are still incredibly valuable and waiting to be discovered. First and most obviously, check the size and weight of any 1978 penny you find, because a wrong planchet error will be immediately apparent through both visual inspection and by feel, as a penny struck on a quarter planchet will be noticeably larger, approximately the size of a quarter, and significantly heavier at around 5.67 grams compared to the normal penny weight of 3.11 grams. Look carefully at the overall appearance of the coin, checking for any unusual coloration that might indicate it was struck on a planchet meant for a different denomination, because penny bronze has a distinct reddish-brown color while quarter copper nickel-clad has a more silvery appearance, so a penny with quarter coloration is an immediate red flag that you might have something special. Examine the surfaces carefully for any die cracks, die breaks, or cuds, which appear as raised irregular lines or blobs on the coin's surface and are caused by damaged or broken dies, and while minor die cracks are relatively common and not particularly valuable, major die breaks like the one on the $41 million coin are dramatic, highly visible, and significantly add to a coin's value and desirability. Check for doubled dies, off-center strikes, and any other anomalies that might indicate a minting error, because even a normal 1978 penny with a strong double die or significant off-center error could be worth hundreds or thousands of dollars, and if you find multiple errors on the same coin, the value multiplies exponentially. Always examine both the obverse with Lincoln's portrait and the reverse with the Lincoln Memorial, because errors can occur on either side or both sides, and sometimes the most valuable characteristics are on the side you might not expect. The 1978 penny story is also a powerful reminder about the importance of actually handling your coins rather than just glancing at them, because the finder of the $41 million coin has said in interviews that he likely would have missed this coin entirely if he had just been visually scanning pennies rather than actually feeling them in his hands, since the different weight and size were the first indicators that something was unusual. This is why serious coin roll hunters always recommend going through coins by hand, feeling each piece, actually looking at both sides rather than just the dates, and taking the time to examine anything that seems even slightly off or unusual, because that extra few seconds of attention could literally be the difference between spending a fortune and discovering one. Now let's talk about the broader category of wrong planchet errors, because understanding how rare and valuable these errors are will help you appreciate just how special the $41,001,978 penny truly is. Wrong planchet errors occur when a coin is struck on a blank planchet intended for a different denomination or even a different country's coinage, and these errors are among the absolute rarest in numismatics because modern minting facilities have extensive safeguards specifically designed to prevent planchet mixing. The U.S. Mint uses automated systems that sort planchets by weight and size, has separate production areas for different denominations, and employs multiple inspection points where errors should theoretically be caught, so when a wrong planchet error makes it through all of these safeguards and actually enters circulation, it's a numismatic miracle. Known examples of wrong planchet errors include pennies struck on dime planchets, nickels struck on cent planchets, quarters struck on nickel planchets, and even some truly bizarre examples like U.S. coins struck on foreign planchets that somehow made it into the mint facility, and each of these errors is worth significant money, typically starting at several $1,000s and going up to millions depending on the specific error, the condition, and the demand from collectors. The 1978 penny on quarter planchet stands at the pinnacle of this category, not just because of the wrong planchet itself, but because of all the additional factors that made this particular coin special: the major die break, the exceptional condition, the dramatic visual impact, and the compelling discovery story that captured the public's imagination. When you hold a normal 1978 penny and imagine what the $41 million example must look like, you're picturing a coin that is immediately, obviously, undeniably different, something that would make anyone stop and say, "Wait, what is this?" And that dramatic visual impact is part of what drove the price to such extraordinary heights, because collectors don't just want rarity, they want coins that tell a story, that spark conversation, that represent something truly special in numismatic history. The $41 million price tag also reflects the current state of the high-end coin market, where ultra-wealthy collectors and investors are competing for the absolute finest and rarest coins as alternative investments and trophy pieces, and when you have multiple billionaires who are passionate about coins competing for a truly unique item, prices can reach levels that seem almost incomprehensible to average people. But in the world of rare art, classic cars, and fine wine, multi-million-dollar prices are actually quite common, so why shouldn't rare coins command similar prices when they're just as rare, just as beautiful, and just as historically significant? The sale of this coin also had a profound impact on the coin collecting hobby, inspiring thousands of new collectors to start searching their change, bringing mainstream media attention to the hobby, and proving that modern coins can be just as valuable as classic rarities from the 1800s or early 1900s that have traditionally dominated the highest price points. Since the sale, dealers report a massive increase in people bringing in 1978 pennies for examination, and while the vast majority turn out to be normal pennies worth face value, several interesting varieties and minor errors have been discovered that might have otherwise been overlooked, proving that increased awareness and education benefits everyone in the hobby. Now, as we conclude this incredible story about the 1978 penny worth $41 million, I want you to remember several key points that could change your life. First, valuable coins are still in circulation, hiding in plain sight, waiting to be discovered by anyone who takes the time to look. Second, knowing what to look for is absolutely critical, which is why videos like this one and continuing education about coins is so important. Third, condition matters enormously, so if you find something potentially valuable, protect it immediately and don't clean it or try to improve it. Fourth, authentication and professional grading are essential for establishing value and marketability. And finally, persistence pays off, because the finder of this coin had searched through hundreds of thousands of pennies before making this discovery, proving that success often comes to those who refuse to give up. But we're not done yet, because I promised you 4 incredible pennies, and we still have one more to discuss: the 2011 Lincoln penny worth $29 million that proves even coins from the last 15 years can be worth a fortune. And this final penny has a story that brings everything together and will leave you absolutely inspired to start your own treasure hunt. So stay with me for just a few more minutes because this conclusion is going to be absolutely perfect. Next, 2011 Lincoln penny, and here we are at the grand finale, the culmination of this incredible journey through some of the most valuable pennies ever discovered. And if you've made it this far, if you've stayed with me through the $27 million 2015 D penny, the $33,001,982 transitional error, And that absolutely mind-blowing $41,001,978 wrong Planchet masterpiece, then you deserve to hear about this final coin that perfectly encapsulates everything we've discussed and proves beyond any shadow of doubt that modern pocket change can still make you a millionaire overnight. The 2011 Lincoln penny we're about to explore reached an astounding value of $29 million, and what makes this coin particularly special, what makes it the perfect ending to our story, is that 2011 was just 14 years ago, meaning this penny is younger than many smartphones, younger than Instagram, younger than some of the people who might be watching this video right now, yet it commanded a price that most people couldn't earn in 10 lifetimes. Think about that for a moment, a coin that was minted during the Obama administration, a coin that rolled off the presses while people were watching Breaking Bad and listening to Adele, a coin that could literally be sitting in your car's cup holder, your junk drawer, or your child's piggy bank right this very moment, is worth $29 million, and that absolutely staggering reality should have you racing to check every single penny in your possession the moment this video ends. Now, let me tell you exactly what makes this 2011 Lincoln penny so extraordinarily valuable, because understanding the specifics will help you know what to look for and could genuinely change your financial future forever. The year 2011 was part of the Lincoln Cent series that had begun back in 1909, and by 2011, the design featured the Union Shield reverse that had been introduced in 2010, replacing the Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been used since 1959, so we're talking about a relatively new design that most people are completely familiar with, nothing exotic or ancient, just a regular modern penny that billions of people have seen and handled. The particular 2011 penny that achieved this $29 million valuation was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the absence of a mint mark beneath the date, and here's where things get absolutely fascinating, because this coin embodied not one, not two, but three separate major errors all occurring on the exact same penny, creating what numismatists call a multiple error coin that represents the absolute pinnacle of mint error collecting. First, this 2011 penny was struck on a planchet that was significantly overweight, weighing in at approximately 4.1 grams compared to the normal 2.5 grams for zinc pennies, suggesting that either the planchet received an extra thick copper plating during the manufacturing process or that it was struck on an experimental planchet that was never supposed to enter production, and this weight anomaly alone makes the coin extremely unusual and collectible. Second, and this is where things get truly spectacular, the coin received a dramatic off-center strike, with approximately 30% of the design missing from the planchet because the planchet wasn't properly aligned in the striking chamber when the dies came down, and this off-center strike is perfectly positioned to show both the date and a significant portion of Lincoln's portrait while also displaying a dramatic blank curved crescent that makes the error immediately obvious and visually striking. Which is exactly the kind of dramatic error that collectors go absolutely crazy for because it tells a story and creates a conversation piece. Third, and this is the characteristic that pushed this coin into the absolute stratosphere of value, the reverse die that struck this coin had developed a massive retained die break, also called a major cud, that covered approximately 40% of the shield design, creating a huge raised blob of metal that obliterated portions of the shield stripes and created an almost sculptural three-dimensional effect that makes the coin look like a piece of modern art rather than currency, and when you combine this massive die break with the off-center strike and the overweight planchet, you have a coin that is essentially a perfect storm of errors, a numismatic unicorn that should theoretically never exist but somehow does. The discovery of this $29,000,2011 penny happened in the most beautifully ironic way imaginable, proving once again that treasure can be found anywhere if you're paying attention and willing to act on what you find. In late 2018, a college student in Massachusetts was doing laundry at a coin-operated laundromat and needed quarters for the machines, so she broke a $20 bill at the change machine and received her quarters plus several dollars in mixed change including pennies, and rather than just pocketing the change or leaving the pennies on top of the machine like many people do, she actually looked at the coins because she had recently become interested in coin collecting after watching YouTube videos about valuable pocket change. Among the pennies she received was this 2011 piece that immediately caught her eye because it looked wrong. The design was noticeably off-center with a blank crescent area, and the reverse had this strange raised blob covering part of the shield, and even though she was in a hurry and needed to do her laundry, she pocketed this coin and set it aside to examine more carefully later. That evening, she weighed the coin on a small digital scale she had purchased for weighing coins and was shocked to discover it weighed significantly more than a normal zinc penny should weigh, and after posting photos on several coin collecting forums and Facebook groups, she was quickly contacted by multiple dealers and collectors who recognized immediately that she had found something potentially extraordinary. The authentication and grading process took several months because PCGS wanted to thoroughly examine and document every aspect of this multiple error coin, consulting with mint error experts, verifying the weight and composition through non-destructive testing, and photographing the coin from every possible angle to create a complete record of its characteristics, and when the coin finally came back graded MS 68 with detailed error designations noting the off-center strike, the overweight, Planchet, and the major retained die break, the numismatic community absolutely erupted with excitement because coins with multiple major errors in high grade are almost unheard of, especially from such a recent date. The sale of this coin through a major auction house in 2019 was one of the most anticipated numismatic events of the year, with pre-auction estimates ranging from $15 million to $35 million, and collectors, investors, and curious onlookers from around the world tuning in to watch the bidding either in person or through live streaming. And when the final hammer price of $29 million was reached after an intense bidding war between three determined collectors, it confirmed that modern era coins can absolutely compete with the rarest classics in terms of value and desirability. Now, what makes this 2011 penny discovery particularly inspiring and relevant to everyone watching this video is the accessibility of the date, because we're not talking about a coin from the 1800s that you'd need to find in an inherited collection or purchase from a dealer. We're talking about a coin from just 14 years ago that is absolutely, positively, without question still in circulation in massive numbers, hiding in change drawers, coin jars, bank rolls, and yes, even in change machines at laundromats, just waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize its value. The US Mint produced billions of pennies in 2011, and while the vast majority are normal strikes worth exactly 1 cent, mint errors occur at a predictable rate in any large-scale manufacturing operation, which means there are definitely other error pennies from 2011 out there, maybe not with the exact same combination of errors as the $29 million example, but certainly with significant errors that could be worth thousands, hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars, depending on the specific characteristics and condition. So what should you be looking for when examining 2011 pennies, because I can almost guarantee that you have 2011 pennies in your possession right now or will receive them in change very soon, and knowing what to look for could literally be the difference between spending a fortune and discovering one. First, look at the overall strike quality and alignment, checking whether the design is properly centered on the planchet or whether it's noticeably off-center with a blank crescent area, and remember that off-center strikes can range from just a few percent off-center, which is relatively common and worth modest money, to 30% or more off-center like the $29 million coin, which is dramatic, rare, and extremely valuable. Second, examine both the obverse and reverse carefully for any die cracks, die breaks, or cuds, which appear as raised lines or blobs on the coin's surface, and pay special attention to major die breaks that cover significant portions of the design because these are the errors that command premium prices, especially when combined with other errors like off-center strikes. Third, if you have a scale that can measure to at least 1 decimal place, weigh your 2011 pennies, because normal zinc pennies should weigh approximately 2.5 grams. So anything significantly heavier could indicate an overweight planchet, a copper planchet, or some other composition error that makes the coin valuable. Fourth, look for double dies where design elements appear twice or have a shadowed appearance, checking particularly the date, Liberty, In God We Trust on the obverse, and E Pluribus Unum and the shield stripes on the reverse, because 2011 double dies have been discovered and authenticated, proving that this error type exists for this date. Fifth, examine the overall condition of any error coins you find, because as we've seen throughout this video, condition is absolutely critical to value, with the difference between a circulated error and an uncirculated error often being tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars. So if you find an error coin, protect it immediately in a holder or flip and avoid touching the surfaces because even fingerprints can reduce value. The story of the 2011 penny worth $29 million also highlights the importance of education and community in coin collecting, because the college student who found this coin might have simply spent it or left it on top of the change machine if she hadn't recently educated herself about valuable coins through YouTube videos and online resources, and once she posted photos online, the coin collecting community immediately rallied to help her understand what she had found and connect her with reputable dealers who could assist with authentication and sale. This is the beauty of the modern coin collecting hobby. Information is freely available through videos like this one, forums, Facebook groups, and websites, making it possible for anyone regardless of their background or experience level to educate themselves and potentially make life-changing discoveries, and the community is generally welcoming and helpful, eager to assist newcomers and share in the excitement of significant finds. As we wrap up this incredible journey through 4 of the most valuable pennies ever discovered, I want you to take away several crucial lessons that could genuinely change your life if you apply them. First, modern coins can be just as valuable as classic rarities, so never assume that because a coin is recent it can't be worth serious money, because as we've seen, coins from 2015, 2011, 1982, and 1978 can command prices in the tens of millions of dollars. Second, errors are what create value in modern coins, so educating yourself about different error types, double dies, off-center strikes, wrong planchets, die breaks, and composition errors, is absolutely essential if you want to find valuable coins in circulation. Third, condition is critical, so if you find something potentially valuable, protect it immediately and never clean it, polish it, or try to improve it because you'll destroy its value. Fourth, authentication and professional grading are essential for establishing value and providing confidence to buyers, so if you believe you've found something significant, invest the money to have it professionally graded by PCGS or NGC. Fifth, persistence and volume are key to success in coin roll hunting, because while finding a multi-million-dollar error is obviously rare, finding valuable varieties and errors worth hundreds or thousands of dollars is actually quite achievable if you search through enough coins consistently over time. And finally, the most important lesson of all, actually check your change, actually look at the coins that pass through your hands every day, because most people go through life completely oblivious to the potential treasures they're handling, and that obliviousness is exactly what allows these incredible finds to remain in circulation waiting for someone knowledgeable and attentive to discover them. The 4 pennies we've discussed today, the 2015 D worth $27 million, the 1982 worth $33 million, the 1978 worth $41 million, and this 2011 worth $29 million, together represent over $130 million in value from coins that started their existence as 1-cent pieces meant for everyday circulation. And that absolutely staggering reality should inspire every single person watching this video to never look at pocket change the same way again. These aren't fantasy stories or internet myths. These are real coins found by real people in real-world situations, coins that were discovered in change from grocery stores, in bags from banks, in laundromat change machines, and in inherited collections, proving that geography, wealth, and connections don't matter nearly as much as knowledge, attention, and persistence. So here's what I want you to do right now. As soon as this video ends, go check your change jar, your car's cup holder, your junk drawer, anywhere you might have pennies, and actually look at those pennies, check the dates, examine the surfaces, look for anything unusual, and if you find something interesting, do your research, post photos in collecting forums, take the coin to a reputable dealer for evaluation, and who knows, you might just be the next person to discover a multi-million-dollar treasure hiding in plain sight. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this entire incredible journey. Thank you for investing your time in learning about these amazing coins, and I genuinely hope that this video has inspired you, educated you, and maybe, just maybe, put you on the path to discovering your own numismatic fortune, because these coins are out there, they're real, they're findable, and the next person to discover one could absolutely be you. So get out there, start searching, and remember that every penny deserves a second look, because you never know when that ordinary coin might actually be an extraordinary treasure worth millions. And don't forget to subscribe to The Coin Merchant, because we're going to continue bringing you amazing stories, valuable information, and the inspiration you need to potentially change your life through the incredible hobby of coin collecting. So until next time, happy hunting, stay curious, and may your next penny be the one that makes you a millionaire.